Namaste, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being with us. This is the VFA Vedic Dharma Vedic
Dharma
Dharma
dialogue.
Dialogues. I need a cup of coffee. Anyway, it's truly an honor to be your co-host today because today we have some amazing guests and an amazing topic. So today's guests include Dr. David Frawley, Rukmini Walker, Shobha Swamy, with cameo appearance by Jeffrey Armstrong and other VFA speakers. Shambhavani, the author of Yogini Unfolding the Goddess Within, was scheduled but is unavailable to be on the call today, but we would like to invite her back for another
Yes.
episode. I'd also like to mention that we have a special gift for everybody at the end of this call, which is Stephen Knapp's new book, which was released to celebrate International Women's Day in March, entitled Women in the Vedic Culture. The book is a focus on Vedic references and views on the respect for women as outlined in Vedic literature, using such texts as the Manu Samhita, Rig Veda, Artha Veda, and others to show what esteem women were expected to receive. And just we'll do that at the end of after the Q&A. So it's my pleasure to introduce my VFA co-host, the president of Vedic Friends Association, Benny Tillman, Balabhadra Dasa.
Hare Krishna, namaste, and welcome to everyone for the program tonight. Actually, this has been in the making for about, I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe 7 months. We've been talking about this, doing a discussion on the position of women in the world today, in the Vedic culture, the feminine divine. So we are extremely excited tonight to work with this topic. So to begin, I'm going to read two small prayers, and they are an offering to the guru, spiritual masters. But there's 8, but I'm only reading 2. And the 2 that I'm going to read, I believe, relates to our conversation tonight about the feminine divine. And in Vedic culture, generally accepted as the topmost feminine personality is Srimati Radharani. Like when you go to India, you go to Vrindavan, everyone, they don't say Hare Krishna, they say Jai Radhe. They give her so much respect. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a great Vaishnav scholar, he wrote these prayers, and in every Hare Krishna temple in the world, they sing these prayers every morning for the Mangal Arati. So as I said, just 2. Sri Radhika Madhavayor Apara, Madhurya Leela Guna Rupa Nanam, Prati Shanaswam Dana Lolupasya, Vande Guru Sri Charanada Bindam. The
Mm.
spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Sri Sri Radhika and Madhava, and about their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
Mm.
Nikunja yuno rati keli siddhye, jajali bir yuktir apekshaniya, tatrati daksha atti valabhasya, bande guru sri charanarvindam. The spiritual master is very dear because he's expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. So the spiritual master is being respected because of his mood of service to Sri Radhika and to Sri Krishna.
Yeah.
So tonight we'll discuss this topic of the feminine divine. And beginning, let's see, let's start with David Frawley, Vamana Deva Shastri. Let me give a little introduction to him. Okay. Dr. David Frawley, also known as Vamana Deva Shastri, is one of the most respected global teachers of Vedic knowledge in the modern era. For more than 4 decades, he has helped bring the wisdom of Ayurveda, yoga, Vedanta, and Jyotisha to audiences across the West and in India. He's the founder and director of the American Institute of Vedic Studies in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the author of more than 30 influential books on Vedic knowledge, systems, and ancient India. Widely honored as a Vedacharya and Shastri, Dr. Frawley is especially recognized as a pioneer in introducing Ayurveda, Vedic astrology, and the deeper dimensions of yoga and Vedanta to Western seekers. In 2015, he received the Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian award, for his distinguished service in education and traditional medicine. He has also received Doctor of Letters degrees from, I have a hard time with this word, SVYASA University in Bangalore, and Ram Manohar Lohia University in Ayodhya. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. David Frawley. Hare Krishna.
Namaste, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Can you help me? Can you hear me well enough?
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Okay, great to know. Well, a few things. First, I'm just come back from India not too long ago, where I've been for about 3 months. And we were over a lot of the country and a lot even relative to the feminine. We were at the Yogini temples in the far south near Jagannath Puri and up into the Himalayas in the, of course, the far north, up near even Nanda Devi, the highest peak in India. Of course, we didn't go up it. That was quite a bit of distance away. And we were very active in other parts of the country. But the most inspiring things for us, we were able to go to the Ram temple in Ayodhya. And we were among the first people to go there. And it was a very interesting story because our trip was organized and we were invited by Adityanath, Yogi Adityanath, who is the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. I had done a foreword to his book some years ago, but he was a good friend. And so he arranged all of that for us. I also had another blessing. I was given a Bhishma award in Haridwar from the Swami Avdesh and the Juna Akadas. Swami Avdesh runs the Kumbh Mela, which is no little thing. And he runs the Juna Akada. He has 2 million swamis under him, including all the Naga Babas, and also Swami Govinda Dev Giri, who is in Maharashtra. He also runs the Janeshwar Gurukul there. And he was the he was the treasurer for the Ram temple in Ayodhya. And something that I know you're all going to be happy about, he's also treasurer for the Krishna Janmabhoomi temple, which is now being scheduled. It's still some time yet, but he and Yogi Adityanath, it's in Uttar Pradesh and so forth, they're looking to restore the Krishna place of Krishna's birth in Vrindavan. And so it's also very important that that is going on. And we see many changes accordingly. Our topic is also very interesting relative to the divine feminine, because we're only a few days after the spring Navaratri, which is, of course, dedicated to Ma Durga and all her different forms. And after that comes what is called the New Year, the Chaitra Shukla Pratipad. That's where the Vedic years are measured, going all the way back to the Kurukshetra war. And they also end with the great event of Ram Navami, which is, of course, the birth time of Sri Ram. And then the full moon afterwards, which we are experiencing now, is also the time of Hanuman Jayanti, where, of course, Hanuman takes his manifestation. And Hanuman is Vayu, he's the Lord of all the energies and powers, the Kriya Shakti of the universe. He also, of course, is with Sri Ram and with, of course, Sita Devi. And it's always interesting. On the India side, India is Bharat Mata, and we have in all the traditions the honoring of Devi or the goddess. And we also worship Devi in all her forms, the Yoga Shakti, particularly all of the forms of the Sri Vidya and Tripura Sundari. But I want to just introduce one little picture here for me and for my own history. This is Sri Anandamayi Ma. She was born in 1896 and she took her Mahasamadhi in 1982. And I mention her is because she is what brought me into the direct contact with the yogic tradition. I came in contact with her in 1976, and it was very odd because that she would even see me or even respond to my letters. So our work has always been rooted in the various Devi sadhanas. You also should understand that Vedas are Veda Mata. Some people say, oh, there's no women in the Vedas. And Vak, of course, is also feminine, Vak Shakti. And so the foundation is there. And I've been involved with a lot of these related traditions as Yogi Shambhavi, the Sri Vidya in particular. We have a little kind of design relative to that over there. And that is where the entire universe merges back into that divine sound. And then, of course, we have the worship of Devi or the goddess in all of her different forms. And each Devi, Lakshmi, has many forms. Of course, not only her, Saraswati has many forms. And also Shiva's consort Parvati has many forms. And the Yoga Shakti also comes from her. And the worship of the Devi comes forth in many different days and ways. And she is also honored as the mother of the universe, not just simply one form or another. There are many special forms and mantras to her. And it's very interesting to note, I've worked with a lot of the stotras and mantras to the goddess. In my book, Mantra Yoga and Primal Sound, we discussed all the Bija Shakti mantras. Whoops, I don't know how that happened. Let me go to that. I don't even use the phone normally.
You see, we have some of the other Vedic scholars on, so we'll call upon you after.
Sorry about that, is the silence involved. And there is, of course, the great teacher Adi Shankara or Shankaracharya, and he was the head of the many of the sadhu orders. But it's interesting to note that also the greatest and longest stotras or chants to Devi or Shakti come from him, including the Saundarya Lahari, 100 verses, Ananda Lahari, so many of these, and of course the worship of the Sri Vidya, and that represents the universe as a whole. So the point is very simple. We need to bring ritual devotion, and also worship of the goddess in all of her forms in order to restore the power of the feminine and respect for the feminine and all of her different forms and aspects. There are many women gurus. There have always been that. And of course, there are many important yoga teachings going with that. And those need to be honored directly. And they, of course, there's many forms of relative to Shiva. There's many forms relative to Vishnu, and many aspects that transcend form all together. So it's very good to note that this event is coming after the Navaratri. It's also coming on Hanuman Jayanti, as we have said. And Hanuman, as the power of Vayu, he also protects Sita, he protects Devi, and he controls all the forces of nature. So it's very important that we bring him into this study and meditation. And it's also very important to honor Mother Nature, who is also the Shakti, and who is also a manifestation of the pure consciousness. And it's also important that we recognize the feminine forces in our lives. I, for example, have 7 younger sisters, which is quite unusual. And we've had many connections with the great gurus of India, starting with Anandamoy Ma and many others in the feminine basis. And even relative to her, I had some magical type, or at least very interesting type of experiences. When I was going into Haridwar, Rishikesh, some years ago, I was hosted by one of the industrialists there in Delhi, and they had a very nice home by, or a very large home by the Ganga, and they had a guest home, and they said, okay, you can spend the night there. And so we did. And then we looked and we saw the pictures of Anandamoy Ma. And then we asked them, well, why is her picture there? And they said that was her cottage where she used to stay. And the beds that you were staying in were also where she used to stay. And we've had many other experiences like that. I don't want to take up too much of your time. The only thing I would say, in addition, on a practical level, Ayurveda, of course, has all its adjustments, not only relative to doshas and gunas, but also relative to the feminine power. I just did a program for the California Ayurvedic Association, and 80% of the people who came there to learn, who were studying Ayurveda, were women. And we also have Ayurveda, we also have these considerations in the Jyotish, where we look at the divine masculine, feminine forces, Shiva Shakti, Vishnu Lakshmi, and so forth, in order to understand the charts of people. So there's many factors to go into. We live in a troubled age. There are many problems going on. There are many challenges for the future, but we need the Yoga Shakti. We need also the Buddhi Shakti, power of intelligence. And we certainly need also in yoga what we call the Dharana Shakti, or the power of attention, which seems to be going away very quickly. So with these words, I will open up the rest of the program. I'm happy to see this organization. I was one of the founders over 20 years ago, and there I would like to also convey the good wishes or the best wishes of Sri Ram Madhav, who was behind the creation of some of these organizations. I saw him again in India, and I also did a program for his India Foundation in Delhi, which is one of the most important think tanks in India today. And has been for a very long time. And I also want to make a statement about Yogi Adityanath. Narendra Modi is finishing off his term. Yeah, that will actually be his third term. And we're looking for another prime minister of that quality, and everyone's looking at Yogi. And we have to say that that is certainly the case. He's been our associate, head of the Nath Yogis, and they are Nath Yogis, Siddha Yogis, one of the main traditions. He's in Uttar Pradesh, but he's also there, has his main center in Gorakhpur. Gorakhpur, many siddhas, even Yogananda was born there, the head of the Nath Yogis. So they have the head of the Nath Yogis running the country. We are been working with him at various levels, and we are hoping that he will be the next prime minister of the country. And he also has a great worship and honoring of the Devi, the Shakti, and the feminine power on many forms. So it's very good to see these spiritual yogic forces arising. Of course, they're coming here and there, and they are in the West as well. And we just need to give greater emphasis to them. And of course, they are reflected in Vedic knowledge and Vedic sciences overall. So, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha and Jai Hanuman. Remember that Hanuman has all the powers, and he also always protects the feminine form as well, notably Sita Devi, who symbolizes all of nature and who has the power of the earth and all the creative forces. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Hari Om, Hari Bol.
That was lovely, David. And thank you so much for the updates from India. That's always lovely to hear and all the news. So thank you so much. Next, we're going to hear from Shobha Swamy. And Shobha, excuse me here, is a Hindu American educator, speaker, and community leader dedicated to bringing the wisdom of Sanatana Dharma into modern life in the West. She's born in India, but lives in the United States for the past 30 years and has become a respected voice in Hindu parenting, Dharmic leadership, and the next generation cultural education. She's also the co-founder and general secretary of KONA. Congratulations on that. That organization is really growing. The Coalition of Hindus of North America, where she advocates for inclusivity, merit-based society rooted in personal responsibility, resilience, and cultural confidence. Her work has made her an important voice in both the grassroots initiatives and national conversations. A certified yoga and plant-based nutritional instructor, Shobha also leads wellness workshops and speaks widely on topics such as Hindu Dharma, Vedic values for society, parenting, and how the ancient wisdom remains deeply relevant today. Please join me in a warm welcome for Shobha Swamy. Shobha, your sound is low.
I was muted. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am Namaste, and I'm truly humbled to be part of this August speakers and honorable leaders here of spiritual guide and leaders of Hindu Dharma. And it's my honor, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to present to all of you as a sadhaka, as a Hindu practitioner, and as a leader as well in the community, but more importantly, a sadhaka in daily life, and as we worship the Devi and what it truly embodies and what it means to me. I'll be sharing a short presentation. So let me see if I can share my screen. I think I need permission to share my screen. Is that right, Sandy?
Yeah,
If not, I can just follow along my presentation, if that's a
maybe you should
concern or
make
a
Yes, it
problem.
doesn't look like I have the ability to let you share. I'm looking though. I'll give you a
if
go
you
ahead and
can,
I'll.
yeah, make her a co-host if possible. Either you or Balabhadra Prabhu.
Okay, you should try now.
It's the one with the picture. That's the one that needs the permissions to share. That's my computer. Yeah. So just the one with my picture, not the one with my the one that I'm sharing the video screen with. But it's okay. If I can't share it, it's not a big problem. We can get started. I can just read out my slides. And let me see. Yeah, I think I'll just, read from my slides. Not a problem. Okay. Namaste Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
It's that newspaper that he's doing.
Pardon?
Someone's mic is on. I think someone needs to mute their mic. Not sure who it is. Go ahead, Shobha.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? There's no echo.
Yes.
I don't think.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get started. Sorry about the. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. As a young child, I have had the honor and the privilege of attending Chinmaya Mission classes when I was back in 7th grade. And that set the foundation of sadhana and of satsang way early in my formative years. And later in life, I was introduced to Swami Dayananda Saraswati of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. And as you all know already, Swamiji is a renowned traditional teacher of Vedanta, a teacher of teachers, and the founder of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. And his in-depth understanding and nuanced appreciation of modern culture made him the rare teacher who communicates the vision of non-duality to modern listeners as the truth of oneself, that we are whole. With this beginning, I will get started. Revering the sacred feminine, a Vedic perspective on abundance, power, and balance. That these are the qualities that the Devi personifies. And as all of you know, my name is Shobha Swamy, and I live in Atlanta. So, understanding the feminine divine in Vedic tradition is in itself, just like as was mentioned, it's the feminine divine, not just a separate goddess itself, but also the creative power and the energy, Shakti, of the limitless reality, Brahman, and the infinite that manifests this world of names and forms. So, all the manifestations we see in today's world and life forms around us are a manifestation with the power of Shakti. And in this is also the active, creative, sustaining, and transformative principle of the divine or Ishvara or Bhagavan, as we call. It's also the feminine divine is also the dynamic manifestation aspect of the one non-dual consciousness that makes all action and existence possible. Similar to heat as it relates to fire or the light to the sun, the Devi is part and parcel of both Purusha and Prakriti, like two sides of the same coin. And Mother Earth, as was mentioned, Mother Earth is revered as Bhu Devi. And this is a prayer that we say every day in our home. Samudra Vasane Devi, Parvata Sthanamandali, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsha Kshamasvame. As we go about our daily duties, O Mother Earth, that wears the mountains as her clothes and the rivers as her jewels. This Mother Earth we bow down to as our feet touch the ground. May we tread ever so lightly on Mother Earth, with all due respect, with a conscious mind of preserving the environment and of seeking the blessings of Mother Earth on a daily basis. This reverence sets the path on a daily basis at our home. And now with the children, we used to do it and as well. But now my husband and I still continue this prayer every morning. So the world itself is a sacred manifestation of the divine feminine. And the most important of all in the Vedic view is that there is no division between the sacred and the secular. Everything is sacred because the entire creation is a manifestation of Bhagavan or Ishvara. And this world, often symbolized as Mother Earth, the earth that we see and including the universe as well, is Goddess Bhumi Mata, as was mentioned, and it is the visible form of that divine energy. And all of you know much of the details between Maya and her, Rupa. So the Devi Suktam that we also recite in special occasions is an affirmation of this very feminine essence. The feminine divine as the primal force, feminine divine as the source of life and knowledge. So the Vedic reverence for this feminine power or energy. So how can we restore this sacred understanding of the feminine in today's world? As the topic suggests, the divinity is inherent because every woman is a living embodiment of Shakti. The Vedic way of life shows us this divine presence from our very birth. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. This is not a mere platitude, but a daily practice, or more importantly, a daily living with attitude. Cultivating this attitude or this bhavana is the most important part. This is also one of the prayers that we recite every day in our home. And the mother is the first and the most immediate manifestation of the nurturing, caring, creative divine feminine in our lives that we are exposed to first and foremost. By learning to revere her, we learn to see the same sacred principle in all of creation. Like I mentioned before, everything in this world is sacred. That's the Hindu view and the vision. There is no such thing that is outside of the sacredness. So we tread our lives on a daily basis with this in mind and with this attitude and this bhava we develop over a period of time. So in conclusion, embracing the sacred feminine is not only for balance inside, but for balance in the entire world, especially in the times that we're living today. It's about removing the veil of ignorance that prevents us from seeing the divinity, reality in all its forms. So it's a journey from seeing a physical body as an object to appreciating a manifestation of conscious energy as consciousness, as a subject worthy of reverence. Honoring the feminine is inseparable from honoring existence itself. This is the vision of oneness offered by the Vedic wisdom, and from this vision, true and lasting dignity naturally flows. So in practice, what can we suggest to bring back this bhava of revering the feminine and seeing the feminine in everything all around us, in all names, shapes, and forms? Cultivate the Devo Bhava. Everything is sacred vision. Secondly, find an anchor in Satsanga and scriptural study, such as the leaders here today that conduct classes, and restore the sacred dignity which is an inside-out process. So we restore it first in our own vision and actions by seeing the divine Shakti in all, practicing reverence in relationships, engaging with skillful discrimination, and steadfastly adhering to dharmic values. So be the example that we would like to see in this world. And as we embody this shift in consciousness, we become a point of restoration in the world around us for peace and for dharma. So developing a vision of divinity in everything around us is what I'd like to conclude with. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm really grateful that I'm part of the speakers today. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobha. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Sandy, you want to introduce Rukmini? Are you there? Otherwise, I can go ahead and do it. So our next
Delighted
speaker,
to introduce her. Go ahead.
Our next speaker is, I consider to be one of my mentors in Krishna consciousness. She's a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, our guru. But let me read the introduction. Rukmini Walker is a beloved teacher, speaker, and longtime advocate for women's empowerment, bhakti, and interfaith dialogue. She's the founder of the Urban Devi Collective, serves on the board of directors of the Bhakti Center in New York City, and is a trustee of Bhakti Vedanta College in Belgium. She also serves on the Sabha, advising the governing body commission of ISKCON, and contributes to global initiatives focused on sacred art, ecology, and spiritual education, writing, retreats, and international leadership. Her work beautifully weaves together devotion, wisdom, care for the earth, and deep respect for the role of women in sacred life. So please join me in welcoming Rukmini Devi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I'd like to first offer a little prayer of gratitude to my teachers to begin. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I speak from the perspective of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or the path of Bhakti Yoga. I am a disciple of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The guru of my guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, once said that one who worships Vishnu is called a Vaishnava. One who worships Krishna is called a Krishnite. And one who worships above all the divine golden feminine goddess, Sri Radha, is called a Gaudiya. There are many aspects to the divine feminine: Saraswati, Lakshmi, Sita Devi, Parvati, Durga Devi. In the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition, we revere most highly Sri Radha as the divine consort of Lord Sri Krishna. The topic of the divine feminine in the aspect of Sri Radha is confidential in the pages of the Vedas. Sri Radha has one name, Veda Gopya, which means that her name is hidden even in the Vedas. She's also called Shruti Sara or Vedacharya, which means that she is the essence of the Shrutis, or the essence of all Vedic understanding. Yet even the Vedas don't dare to talk about her openly. Vedic literature is written in codes. It can be quite cryptic. Outsiders who don't have the adhikara or eligibility to enter can misunderstand and almost purposefully be waylaid or not given access, unless their hearts are transformed by grace. Radha Tattva, or the truth of the original divine feminine, Sri Radha, can't be and shouldn't be discussed superficially or frivolously. a subject that even the Vedas hesitate to talk about openly, should be approached with great care and precaution. And just as Sri Radha is the confidential associate of Lord Sri Krishna, her glories remain confidential in the pages of the Vedas. It's said that her glory can't even be understood by the Vedas. Still, her name is mentioned in the Rig, Sama, and Atharva Vedas, where this verse is repeated in all three. Stotram Radhanam Pate Girva Ho Virayasyate. In this ancient Vedic verse, Lord Krishna is referred to as the Lord of Radha. The verse says, O hero, Radhanath, in this stotra or verse, in glorification of your opulence or vibhuti, let these words be celebrated as true and lovable. Lord Brahma refers to her in his Brahma Samhita. Lord Shiva prays for her merciful sidelong glance in his Sri Radha Kripa Kataksha Stotra. Her name also appears in Upanishads, Puranas, Samhitas, and Tantras. Brahma Samhita describes that in the spiritual realm, there's a love affair between the original supreme masculine, Sri Krishna or Govinda, and the divine feminine goddess, Sri Radha. On the path of bhakti, the path of loving service to God, Bhakti Devi herself is a goddess, an expansion of Sri Radha, Krishna's joyous pleasure energy. And it's said as well that we individual living beings are expanded from her. The bhakti path describes our intrinsic nature as also feminine. God is one, but he divides himself into two in order to exchange loving pastimes with his beloved Sri Radha. She is as fully spiritual as he himself. She is not different from his own self. She is his own divine feminine counter whole. Yet, she's more approachable. She's a more approachable, compassionate face of divinity. My teacher, Srila Prabhupada, explained her compassion. He said that if you have a prayer, you should place it in the blessing hand of Sri Radha, and she will recommend you to her Krishna. Even if you are most unqualified, she will plead your case to her Krishna. I think in every culture, people of all genders tend to find more solace and shelter in the merciful feminine side of divinity. In Christianity, Mother Mary; in Tibetan Buddhism, the goddess Tara; and Sri Radha, the divine feminine goddess of the Bhakti Yoga tradition. Yet, in almost every age and culture, the voices of her earthly sisters are often put down, ignored, silenced, and perhaps feared. Even the ancient Manu Smriti says that the gods like to stay in places where women are adored and given respect, but the gods don't like to live where women are treated badly. So in those places, no work can be successful. In the Mahabharata, Grandfather Bhishma says, the teacher who teaches true knowledge is more important than 10 instructors. The father is more important than 110 such teachers of true knowledge. And the mother is more important than 10 such fathers. There is no greater guru than the mother. So the question on the table here is, how does the Vedic view restore a more sacred understanding of women in everyday life? I think the pyramid of power in our culture has been subverted. Diversity, equity, and inclusion have been usurped by forces of hate and bigotry. Hate against women, hate against minorities, hate against the disenfranchised, and hate against those seen as the other. We need to invert this pyramid of power and place the earth, the trees, the animals, and the disenfranchised of all societies, all living beings at the top, and we ourselves looking up honoring them all, serving them as cherished and beloved. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught to see oneself as more humble than a blade of grass, more forbearing than a tree, offering all respects to others and not seeking undue respect for oneself. This consciousness of inclusion of women and all living beings could create a shift in the dynamic of power, teaching the world where real power lies. This kind of love is the most radical and revolutionary force, one that compels us to see ourselves, all others, and the earth herself as a living body and care for them all as sacred parts of divinity. Each of us is a living, intrinsic part of the body of this world. Every living being is her sacred part. Bhagavad Gita teaches that one who is wise sees the same spirit essence active within every living being, in the trees, the plants, the animals, the earth, as well as in all human beings. Both women and men need to know that our true power is this transformative power of love, the power of the spirit. This is Bhakti Yoga. Thank you very much. These are my thoughts in answer to your first question.
Hare Krishna.
Rukmini, that was just lovely. Really, really powerful, short and powerful. I'm going to listen to that several times. Thank you. Somebody posted in the chat that all society needs to hear that talk, or what everyone said today, really. It's such a missing vitamin, as Jeffrey Armstrong would say, in our society, to talk about the feminine divine. And people don't realize how the Vedic culture did hold the feminine divine in such high esteem. All right, while we're waiting, if you have any questions, would you please post them in? We have a few minutes. Post them in the chat. We'll call upon you. And while we're waiting for a few questions, Jeffrey Armstrong, maybe we could ask a final few comments from you. You have about 2 minutes, and I'll just give you a brief introduction. Jeffrey Armstrong is the co-chair of VFA, and he's the ICCR Distinguished Indologist. He's a Vedic astrologer, author, and poet, and author of many books on Vedic subjects. Jeffrey, you want to share a few words with us, please? Topic is the feminine divine. Unmute.
There we go. And it's an honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today, speaking on this most important of subjects, because it has so many ripples and implications in our lives to heal the wounds that have been created around this misunderstanding of the feminine in nature. And because this has been something that I've taken a very special interest in, I want to begin the discussion referring to our mother. Her name is Bhumi. The planet we are living on is known as Mata Bhumi in the Vedic culture. Mata Bhumi is a Devi, and yet we really don't have a way to talk about her in the English language. Mother Earth doesn't have a vision. So first I want to share something with you. I want you to see in all her glory, Mata Bhumi. This is our mother, upon whom we are residing and where we're living, and in whose seva or service we should all be engaged. Every morning, as I go for my daily walk, or during the day when I do, I talk with her, or rather I say, Om yasyam samudra bhuta sindurabo, yasyam bandam prashtaya sambhavu, yasyam idam jinvati pranadeva, sano bhumi purume he dadatu, Vishvambara Vasudani Pratishta Hiranyavaksha Jagato Niveshani Vaishvanaram Didvati Bhumir Agni Indro Shabata Mineno Dadatu Hiriasve Parvata Himavanto Anyam De Prithivisyo Namaskuru Arjun Krishna Rohini Vishvarupa Ruambhumi Prithivi Indragupta Ajato Hato Akshato Jeshtam Prithivyaham Yate Madhyam Prithivyakshanabyam Yastabulyastanva Sambhavuhu Dasu Loke Habina Prabhasvabhata Bhumi Putro Aham Pratibhyaha Parjanya Pita Sapurna Vipaltu. We are children of the planet on which we live, which is not just a rock, a spinning solid rock in space. It is a Devi. It is Mata Bhumi. It is Mother Earth. And that mantra that I chanted was the Sanskrit mantra to her, about her. And what I say when I go for my daily walk, my feet on her, I chant that mantra for an hour as I walk, remembering her, promising to be in her seva, to see her in everything around me, and to share with others this understanding of Mata Bhumi, because this is where we are. This is the Devi in whose service we should be functioning. And we should know how to speak to her, with her, and be motivated in her seva universally around the planet. This, I believe, is the responsibility of the Vedic culture as it blossoms its lotus out into the world. And speaking of lotuses, Ma Saraswati Ma, otherwise known as Mother Goose, she rides a swan, doesn't she? So Mother Goose, or Saraswati Ma, Mata Bhumi, these are the beings that we should have a regular relationship with. And this is where Saraswati Ma came in as Mother Goose. Because behind the so-called fairy tales of Western civilization is the unspoken as yet Vedic Vidya that speaks of the Devis that are running the universe, that are the universe. One of my other favorite mantras of short one, to Durga Ma, who has 9 different forms. Yasyam samudra bhuta sindharabo, yasyam bandam prashtaya sambhavu, yasyam idam jinvati prana deva sano bhumi purumehe dadatu. She has 9 particular forms. Pratamam shalaputricha, Devitiyam brahmacharini, Tritiyam chandraganteti, Kujman deti chaturtakam panchamam skandamateti, Shashtam katyayaniti cha saptamam kalaratriti, Mahagauriti shashtamam, Navamam siddhidatri cha, Navadurga prakirtita. Not only is there a Mother Nature, she has 9 forms, names, and she is the gift to the world at a time when we are exploiting Mata Bhumi, at a time when we have not really learned to honor Mother Nature. And this is the root of all of the embodied feminine forms who are living on Mata Bhumi, on Mother Nature. And we need this root to become universal. This is the bhakti that is missing right now. And I'm excited that we're having this gathering together because I would like to inspire you all to learn the Sanskrit mantras that make this even more powerful, that this is the way to share it, that keeps us away from the sexuality conflict that is been so disastrous to Western civilization. We start with honoring the feminine Devis, and this is Surya Savitri. This is Shiva Durga. This is Mata Bhumi. This is Brahma Saraswati, Mother Goose. All of these need to be retrieved, in my opinion, and renamed and re-given as the legacy of the Vedic culture to those living on Mata Bhumi. And with this, there's no chaos, there's no confusion, there's no compromise. This is simply the untouched subject that the Abrahamic religions could not touch. I'm not going to be disrespectful to them because they're worthy of respect, but this they left out because they had trouble enough just talking about Jesus. What to speak of something that wasn't addressed by the early prophets of those Abrahamic traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
We're running out of time. I'm sorry, but the topic you brought up is really important, and we could actually have a whole nother session on that. The feminine divine. It was actually the heresy of the East that there was a feminine divine. So you can see the prejudice against that role.
right.
So thank you very much. We're almost at our time. And as I promised earlier in the show, we're going to give you Stephen Knapp's free book. If you go to the chat, please copy the link there, and you can download it for free. Stephen has written a really practical book on the role of women. I'll just repeat some of the things that he covers. The respect for women in the Vedic tradition, found in various texts. Women's influence on motherhood and family. The strict punishment for harming women. Mother as the first teacher and guru, which several of our speakers have mentioned already. And the feminine divine and their characteristics. We could spend a week talking about all of the characteristics there and how the Vedic examples can uplift the future. And he also gave great examples of women historically who were honored and also women in modern times. So for those of you who get the question, why aren't women honored in India? I recommend that you read this book and it'll give you some good answers. And then refer out the book because he's done all the research for us. So thank you, Stephen, for all of that work. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Benny, you want to do the closing?
And just one more thing, and be in touch with us at VASA, and I will be glad to share these mantras with you if you want to enhance your relationship with the various feminine forms. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you all.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm going to let you do that because my voice is gone.
Oh, your voice is gone. Well, you can see the feminine divine has taken over this talk. Well, in that case, I would like
thank you to everybody who came. It's a very wonderful experience hearing all these wonderful presentations. So thank you all, especially Vamana Deva Shastri. I think you're still in India. Are you still there in India?
He's home now.
Are you back home? Back in California?
Yeah. After the call, some of you, the VFA leadership, can stay back along with Urin. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I wanted to just remind everybody that May 7th is the next event. Please register in advance and make sure you check that you'd like to receive our newsletter. And if these Vedic Dharma dialogues are of benefit and you want to see them continue, please consider making a small donation. And we really appreciate it. It makes these shows possible. Again, thank you to Shobha Swamy, Rukmini Walker, and David Frawley, and Jeffrey Armstrong, Stephen Knapp, and everyone for attending. And we'll have this posted up on our YouTube channel in a few
Sandy?
days.
Sandy?
Yes.
Yes, I have one more point I would like to make.
Sure.
There's a study of yoga and yoga sutras, and people say there's no Shakti, there's no Kundalini in Yoga Sutras. They don't read the text. The last word in Yoga Sutras is Shakti. Yoga Sutras begins with definition of yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, the calming, the control of the movements of the mind. It ends with Chitta Shaktir Iti, Swarupra Patishta. Shakti is the last word in the Yoga Sutras as the power of samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, self-realization, which was later called Chit Shakti. So the feminine scholars and those who represent Devi, we need to reclaim the Yoga Sutras as Shakti, and the Yoga Sutras is, of course, all over all the different yogic traditions. Hariyo.
Well, I think that that's something that Jeffrey might have to tackle too on a translation. One of the things that Jeffrey did when he translated the Bhagavad Gita as the Bhagavad Gita Comes Alive is his title for it, is we realized as we went through the Gita that it originally done by, say, Sanskrit Christianized scholars, I guess best I can say it right now, everywhere there was Sri Krishna, they translated it to Lord Krishna, effectively removing the feminine divine. And so Jeffrey has replaced Sri Krishna throughout and explained in his book why we would put it back in. So it's just been eradicated in the West here. And scholars like you and practitioners like Rukmini and Shobha are reaching out into the communities and putting this back in. So as Jeffrey said, let's call upon everybody to speak this knowledge, speak it in our communities, and get the word out about how powerful the feminine divine is. And it is a fear for some religions, this powerful Shakti. So I really appreciate what you just said at the end there, David. That was fantastic. I'm going to look that up again and see. That's fantastic. All right. Anybody else have a comment before we close off officially? It was lovely seeing everybody. All right, we'll sign off, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in May.
Haribo.
Jai Shri Krishna.